Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Welcome to our first episode of 2020. I'm super excited for all the fun stuff that we've got planned for this year. Some of you might have seen our little teaser video that we posted on our social media pages back in December, announcing some of it. But for those who missed that, I can tell you we'll be making our return to D&D 5th edition this year in a really big way. We're doing one-shots, more world building of our homebrew setting, and hopefully, if the stars align, the return of our flagship D&D characters, Prance, Enade, and Bork. Aside from D&D, we're planning on playing the brand new Alien RPG. I'm super looking forward to that. And we're also going to be doing a second season of our Star Wars campaign, Tempest Squadron. I'm sure we'll end up doing some other games as well as the year goes by, as well as a whole bunch more bonus episodes, starting next week actually, with a world-building one for you all. It's shaping up to be a really busy and exciting year for us, and we hope you'll take the journey with us. Also, in that teaser video, we announced the launch of our public Discord server, which is now live. You can find a link to the server in the pinned tweet at the top of our Twitter page at twitter.com/pretendwithdice. So come along and hang out with us. Okay then, so let's recap what happened last time in our Things from the Flood story. Having left the roller disco behind them, after deciding instead to spend their evening searching for more clues as to the mystery afflicting their town, our three teen investigators, Hazel, Sora and Antony, made their way to Hazel's house, looking to follow up on Hazel's tale of mysterious apparitions of blood and how they had led her to check out the local military installation. Finding nothing more of use in the house, however, the trio decided it best to conduct a more close inspection of the military base themselves. While Hazel hid in the bushes, Antony and Sora tried to talk their way past the soldier who was guarding the front gate. Antony was unsuccessful, but after Sora mentioned some of the details about the mysterious black ooze which they had seen earlier in the week, the pair were escorted inside, led by a man in a white lab coat referred to only as the Professor. From her hiding spot, Hazel was helpless to follow as her friends were taken inside the same windowless building which she had seen a strange activity around on her earlier visit. That's pretty much where we left off last time, so without any further ado, let's get into today's episode. Enjoy. So Hazel, we last saw you kind of hanging around on one side of the perimeter fence of this of the Ministry of Defence base, having just seen Antony and Sora being led into a building by a guy in a white coat, and there was what looked like another soldier with him. You saw the doors closed behind them, and then the whole kind of area was sort of pretty much empty at this point. What would you like to do?
Well, I looked to see if there was security cameras. So
I think we'd said that you couldn't really see any, but I didn't. Yeah. I wasn't confirming whether there were any or not.
Yeah. Well, given that Hazel can't see any cameras, I'm going to attempt to climb over the fence.
Okay, I think we're definitely going to need a check. As unobtrusively
as possible.
Yeah. Okay, so there is some barbed wire at the top. Before I get you to roll for the climbing, what's your sort of thoughts about that?
I take off my jacket and throw it up to cover the barbed wire.
Okay.
Hoping that when I get up there, that's enough to protect me from, or at least mostly, from the worst of the barbs.
Okay, so make a body force check just to see if you can get the, because you've written in your character description that Hazel is 5'2", This is a
Yes.
10-foot fence, so
Yep.
let's a body force check. So you, I think I'll only need one success on this, and you've got 2 in body, 1 in force. So
Yeah. There we go.
1 success. Okay, so yeah, you get your jacket. Judge the throw, and it just flops over the top, and what you hope is going to be enough of a shield for not getting stabbed on the razor wire. So okay, for the climbing then. It's a sort of standard kind of chain link fence. It's quite sturdy. So you sort of test your foot on it and that, and you think it's going to be it should be fine for climbing up. So can I get a body move check? Also 3d6, and okay, there's 1 success there again. Okay, so it takes you as a little bit of effort. Would you say, is it how sort of, I'm only going off of your sort of stats here and your skills. Would you say
Quite
Hazel's?
difficult for her.
Yeah, I was going to say not
Very
particularly.
stubborn.
But yeah, it takes you a little bit of time, but you do manage to get up and over the top. It's a bit of a drop down, but you do make it down, and but your jacket is now stuck up on the fence.
Yeah, that's fine. We might go out that way as well.
I'm assuming you put any extra sort of bits and pieces in your pockets rather than leaving them in your jacket.
Yes, sorry.
Just wanted to double check that. Okay, so you find yourself in kind of a wide sort of concrete sort of yard. Ahead of you, about 35 feet away from you, is this kind of small blockhouse building that you saw the other two being led into. But other than that, off to your right, there is a larger kind of, I guess you could describe it kind of like as a sort of hangar sort of sized building. And on the other side of that, is the kind of entrance gate. And from just sort of living here, you know that ahead of you, further along the sort of side, sort of the far side of the hangar building, is a kind of barracks type building.
Right. Well, I want to keep away from that,
Yeah.
for definite.
You are kind of a little bit in the open here, up against the
Yeah.
fence. But yes, to your left as well, the concrete slopes down into sort of butting up against the riverbank.
Okay.
And a little ways along, not directly to your left, there is sort of like a little slipway going down into the water.
I should probably try and get closer to one of the buildings at least, so I'm not as obvious.
Mm-hmm. And the closest one to you is the kind of blockhouse building.
Mm-hmm. I think I will approach the blockhouse, but still trying to keep an eye out for cameras.
Okay. Can I get a... Yeah, mind comprehend, because you're not investigating, you're just sort of... 46 for you. No successes, okay. Not necessarily a bad thing, I'm just saying you still don't see any cameras. So are you heading up to the blockhouse? It's sort of, I'd say 35 feet ahead of you. I'd say to your right, but kind of, if you're facing north on a compass, to the north east is this hangar building. I'd say about 50 feet away from you, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
It's up to you which one you're going for, really.
Ideally, I want to check if Sora and Antony are okay.
Okay.
So I'll head towards there.
Okay. Very quickly, kind of reach the edge of that building, the blockhouse. It pretty much is just a sort of a kind of concrete kind of rectangle, sort of queue, sort of dumped into the middle of this yard. No windows on it at all. As you reach the kind of the corner of it, you can look around and you can see the two doors that they went in through. They don't look like swing doors. They're not on hinges or anything. They do look like there's some kind of automatic kind of door, but they are metal plates.
Ooh.
And next to them is a keypad. Again, no windows on any of this. Keypad is set into the wall.
Can I hear anything from inside?
Make a mind comprehend check. No successes there. Okay. It's tough to hear anything out here. It's a little bit breezy out. Yeah, the wind is sort of whistling over. There's some trees on the other side of the river. Can't really hear much coming from inside the building. It seems quite solid. It's not like, its sound is not, if there is any, is not making it through the concrete.
Okay. Is there anywhere that I could kind of semi-hide while keeping an eye on the door to this building?
As I said, it's fairly exposed out here. while keeping an eye on the door, that's one matter. I mean, it's easy enough to kind of hide around like one of the corners, but staying on the kind of corner that you're at, sort of, so that you're sort of facing the fence, leaves you open to, if anybody walks around the far corner of the hangar, they'll see you. If you go round to the back of the blockhouse, you can't then keep an eye on the door, but you will be, no one will see you from like the barracks or the hangar.
I think I'll do that actually, because at worst I should be able to hear the door open.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I will do that just now, and I think Hazel will be happy to wait for a couple of minutes at least to see what happens.
Just kind of hanging out, just sort of keeping watch.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Just for flavour, as I'll say then. So you walk around the back of this back of the blockhouse, and kind of you can see you're kind of hidden from all the other buildings in the in the base sort of thing. The concrete sort of continues away from you for another sort of 20 or so feet before dropping off into the river. Other side of the river, it's pretty much just kind of plant growth, and there's a fair number of trees over there. It's all shielded from any buildings that are sort of, that there's a few houses and things a little bit further away on the far side of the river, but there's a tall line of trees kind of blocking the view. And now that you're on this side, you can see there is also a fence this side that would block anybody coming sort of up to the far river bank to kind of look in at where you're at. So you think you're fairly secure. Yeah, at least as far as you can tell. Also, now you're a little bit closer to the river, you can see that by the slipway on your side, there are a couple of small boats moored up. They look a bit kind of military sort of style, but there doesn't appear to be anybody kind of tending to them at the moment. I'd say it's about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night by this point.
Okay.
I think that's what we'd said. That was the one thing I didn't check from last time, as if I said what time
it was getting later.
Yeah, because Antony was worrying about getting home for his and getting in trouble with his parents, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like usual.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because the boats could also be another escape, or the river could be an escape if needed.
I will leave that in your hands.
Okay.
If you're happy just kind of hanging out there, then we'll cut to Antony and Sora. Antony and Sora, as the two of you are led inside this building, it is pitch black as you go through the doors. They close behind you. Your eyes kind of adjust fairly quickly. There is a sort of low-level red light on inside. Again, from the inside you can see not any windows. You're led into the centre of the room. There appears to be a small keypad, again, on the far wall, which the soldier who is leading you quickly presses a button on as the four of you are in the centre of the room. There is a gap of a couple of seconds, and the floor underneath you begins to slowly lower down into the earth. It's a kind of lifting elevator platform. The professor who's with you is he's not really saying much, but he's kind of keeping a sort of eye on you. He doesn't appear sort of surprised by the platform moving or anything. This is his working environment. He knows what it's like. But yeah, so the two of you are sort of stood in silence on this lift platform.
Where are we going, Professor?
You'll see. We just need to verify your story.
Oh, I see.
Antony's shooting her a look while she's doing this, with a kind of look of like panic on his face. He's bricking it right now.
She's scratching her cheek, trying to look innocent.
It's like a kind of nervous tick of cheek scratching. Yeah. Okay. So, all around you as the platform is lowering, you can hear kind of like a grinding of gears and things, and you can see sort of set into each of the corners of the platform. It's rolling down kind of like a kind of cog track sort of thing. Doesn't take too long. It's about 20 seconds. It's not moving particularly quickly. About 20-25 seconds, platform comes to a stop in front of another pair of double doors, which open as the platform comes to a halt. The soldier steps off, and the professor sort of motions for you to go ahead. And ahead of you there is a corridor.
Antony looks to Sora and back to the professor, kind of panicking, like, should we do this? He's kind of going to follow her lead a little bit.
So when the professor gestures, she says, "Thank you," and then walks, and then tries to like look as confident as possible.
Looking like you're meant to be there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Averting his gaze in case he puts me off.
But so pointedly not making eye contact with Antony, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, Antony's going to follow suit on that then, but in a slightly less effective way, try to look confident, because he already looks horribly sweaty and nervous as it is. So he's kind of trying to pull himself together, and as he passes, the professor gives him a kind of like nod, and not like he tries to wink, but it's a bit wonky. He's a bit it's just broken.
You accidentally wink both eyes at the same time.
He's coming on to him.
Yeah. And then he quickly kind of scurries off after Sora to kind of walk parallel with her for a moment, and leans in and goes, "What the hell are we doing?"
And then she looks at him with like serious face and like does the smallest shrug, and she's like, I don't know.
What did you tell them? What did you say to get us in here? This is crazy.
Oh, I was like, oh, my dad, he's been taken by the thing. And he said, come with me. And then that's what happened. And Sora just looks like she's like trying to come off as like she knows what she's talking about.
As we're walking down this corridor, Antony looks back. What are the soldiers and the professor doing?
Well, the professor's walking along behind you.
He's coming with. Okay.
Yeah, he's only like a couple of feet behind you. So, I mean, I don't know how stealthy you want to be with this conversation, but the soldier is sort of walking ahead of you, like he's sort of, like I say, leading the way. There's the corridor that you're kind of in. It's quite short. It's kind of leading to another set of doors further down. There's nothing coming off of this corridor. Soldier's looking straight ahead. You're looking around at the professor, did you say?
I just wanted to gauge reaction mostly. I didn't realise that they was walking behind.
Okay, well, can I get I guess this would be mind empathise check from you. I'm going to need one just to sort of gauge the 46. It's just to see if the professor's reacting at all to what you're saying.
Pick the right textbooks.
Oh, I would have tried to talk quietly.
Well, you got 3 successes there. That's a really great roll.
Woohoo!
You could, if you want to have been talking quietly, can I get a stealth check from you?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, he leaned in and said this as quietly as possible.
Okay, well, we'll roll with that without the check then. I mean, okay. Seeing as how you gave it 3 successes on that empathize roll, you can tell he's got this look like he's straining to hear you, but he's not like reacted as if he's heard something scandalous. So you're guessing maybe you were stealthy enough just in your whispering.
My eye. Has he seen me looking back at him?
Yeah, he sees you like look round, like he's like right there. Like
Antony repeats the kind of like half blinking, closing both eyes thing again, and nods towards him, and then turns back towards Sora.
That's super awkward. I'm just imagining like the proper like going for a wink, and you're either like super over exaggerating it, or you're just like you think you're winking and you're just blinking at him super hard. Like
yeah, it's I don't want to completely describe it. It's whatever it is in your mind.
He kind of like he gives you like a sort of odd frowning look, but then just that it doesn't say anything. So quickly reach the other set of doors, and ahead of you as the soldier opens them, you're led into, I wouldn't call it like open plan, but there's like several rooms coming off of this corridor you now find yourselves in, mostly with kind of glass windows sort of fronting them. Not full glass, but kind of like, waist height to sort of waist to head height kind of thing. That there's sort of a little bit kind of like observation windows thing, but you without sort of further investigation, you couldn't tell exactly what was behind them from where you stood.
Okay.
You're led along a little way to sort of I'd say the second room down, And the soldier stops at this one. The professor gives him a nod, and he says, if you just step inside here.
Again, Antony's like looking towards Sora, like she's been taking the lead so far, so time to shine.
And where is this?
If you
What's
just
happening?
step inside, we need to verify your story. Just going to ask you a few questions.
Oh. But will you answer my questions?
I can't guarantee I'll be able to answer all of them, but I will do my best.
Will you tell us what's been going on?
That depends on what your answers to my questions will be.
I see. She folds her arms.
Antony gives a good long and nods towards him in that kind of like, yeah, we're in control of this situation kind of way.
I say, very well then, and then walk in.
Okay, I was going to say, real quickly though, at this point, another person in another white coat steps out from one of the other doors quite quickly, walks up to where you're standing, and there's you put a sort of, I guess, sort of mid to late 30s lady. She kind of coughs, and the professor sort of looks and goes, oh yes, of course. She holds out like a sort of a plastic kind of bucket and says, if you put all metal items into the bucket very quickly, that would be very helpful, thank you.
Okay.
Does Antony have anything metal on him?
Keys.
That is up to you.
My
What do you
keys.
have on you that is maybe metal?
Yeah, I guess keys would be the thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is before mobile phones.
Antony has to remove his belt then. He's gonna, because he's all done up for. He's got jeans on. He's taking his belt off. He's giving him that because it's got a buckle. Aside from that, yeah, nothing else.
Yeah. Okay. Sora's just keys. Then I take it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you put them in your bucket. In the bucket. So you'll get these back. Don't worry. You're ushered into the room. The door closes behind you. The professor has not followed you in. You're looking around. You can see through the glass him speaking with the other white-coated individual. They're sort of just glancing at you a little bit, and he sees you looking at him. He sort of holds up a finger to sort of say, 1 minute, and then they step away, and you can't see them through the glass. For a second, you find yourselves alone in this room.
Antony turns to Sora and says, shit, Sora. Shit, Sora. Shit, Sora.
Shush. Anthony, shush.
He turns towards the window and slams his fist on it. Oi, let me out! Oi!
Anthony, what the hell?
It's pretty solid. It doesn't budge at all. As you hit it, you get the feeling it's there's no vibration or anything. It's quite thick glass, if it's glass.
Do you think they locked the door?
You can try it if you like.
Yeah, I'm going to try the door.
The door does not open.
Oh shit!
What is it? It's just a standard door handle, pull, open, close. Yeah.
It's kind of let me describe the room. So
It's a prison cell that I willingly walked into.
It's got a cell-like quality to it, I will say. The walls are kind of concrete. The door is metal. It's like solid. It's got a glass panel in it, which seems to be the thickness of the door, which is a couple of inches. There's a sort of nondescript kind of plastic table in the middle of the room, with a pair of like kind of plastic folding chairs on one side of it and a third chair on the other side of it. There is a fluorescent bulb kind of in the light fitting above, but all the walls are kind of concrete. You do see in the back of the room, along basically at kind of the same level as the window is on the side that you just kind of hammered your fist on, it appears there's kind of like a plastic, or at least you can tell it's not metal, kind of panel kind of affixed to the wall that looks screwed in pretty tight. Other than that, it's pretty much featureless, the room.
Anthony's just continuing to freak out. He's kind of looking at the lawnly, trying to like see what's out there. Like, what's the view from the window? Can he see anything? I mean, how thick is this? Is it clean, dirty?
It's pretty clean, and you can see into the corridor that you just came from. So it's not like one-way glass or anything like that. So you sort of craning your neck, you can see a little further way up the corridor. The professor is talking to this other individual in a white coat. The soldier seems to be still pretty much where he was when he opened the door. He's kind of at attention, sort of outside your door, and kind of like a guarding sort of posture, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You can't hear any sound coming from the corridor at all. But yeah, you can sort of see it. It's kind of, it's like I say, it's not like, you haven't walked in and there's like a mirrored panel. You can see out. But
okay.
It's pretty much just like that. There's a similar looking room on the other side. Now that you've got like a straight on view, it appears there's a pretty much identical room kind of facing yours, which is empty. Okay.
So Antony continues to stand staring out through this window, looking at the professor, and says to Sora, that professor guy's just down the corridor. Like, he's just like chatting some other lady. Like, I don't know what the hell you've gotten us into here, Sora. And he turns around slightly angry. He's like, what the hell? Why did you lie to them about like your dad? Nothing happened to your dad. We don't know why they brought us in here, and now we might be experimented on, and it's all your fault.
Well, I just wanted to find out what happened, so...
My dad is going to kill me.
Oh, who cares about your dad? We're inside a military base locked up.
Antony kind of snaps out of it for a second and goes, yeah, all right, you're right, but yeah, that's worse, but that's your fault. What are we going to do? And he kind of turns towards the door, and is there any kind of like keyhole on this side that he can at least try and look at and in some like absolutely pointless way fiddle with as best he can?
Not really, no. It's kind of featureless on this side. Like I say, it's got soul-like qualities.
Well, it appears we're stuck here, so there's nothing we can do now.
Well, I guess we're going to have to wait for that guy to come back. And Antony, in a slightly huffy way, sits down on one of those...
by the way, you're my brother and your name is Kev.
What?
Yeah, for the story.
What did you tell them?
I told them that my dad was like, whatever happened the other day. And like, if he wanted us, I don't know. Okay, you have to be Kev.
I don't want to be Kev.
Well, no one wants to be Kev. He's gross. But just for the story, like...
And see, that narrows eyes a little bit as you said that. Just kind of gives you a look like, he's my friend.
Yeah, but he's gross. Tried to pick me up with a Coke. Who does that? Just weird.
Fair enough.
Like, I can be bought for like 50p, like... I don't think so. Besides, anyway, back to the story. You're going to be Kev, I'll be your sister. I don't even know if Kev has a sister in real life, but anyway, he does now. So...
Did you tell him what your surname was?
No, you didn't ask. What's Kev's surname?
Kev's surname is O'Neill, so I guess we're the O'Neills.
Yeah, that's right. You're getting it.
Antony kind of rests his elbows on the table and cradles his head in his hands and kind of stares at the blank surface of the table. Starts muttering to himself, Kevin O'Neill, Kevin O'Neill, I'm Kevin O'Neill.
Yes. Does he have a sister in real life?
No, he doesn't.
I'm Stacey O'Neill, and something terrible happened to our father. Got it?
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay, good, because it's going to be pretty convincing because we did actually see it, right? So it's not like we're lying that much.
Yeah, we'll just describe the stuff we saw at Kev's house, and then like we'll just see the look in their eye and we'll know like maybe something. And he kind of tries to look cool, like, yeah, we're figuring this out, right?
Yeah, and then if it all goes pear-shaped, we can just say we lie in and we can go.
Yeah, it's all just a kid's game. Because we're like childish and stuff. Nobody, like, we're just about young enough, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm a real prankster, which has already been established.
This is true.
by Kev's dad. So everything comes full circle. And she does a gesture with her hand.
Describe what kind of gesture? What, like a big?
Like I've got two hands and I round them away from each other and then meet back up again.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I can picture that.
We're blue sky in this right now.
Yeah. Just free associating a plan.
Just throwing things up and seeing what works.
Yeah. Okay. So as you're kind of finishing your coming up with a plan. Yeah. Antony, you look up to see the professor and the other white-coated individual sort of walk back in front of the glass. They don't go to the door, and they're sort of standing in front of the glass and appear to be kind of adjusting something on the bottom of the glass.
So as this is happening, Antony kind of, in that way where like he's clenching his teeth, he goes, "Sora, they're at the window. Look inconspicuous."
Oh, okay. I mean, I wasn't really doing anything, but...
Antony looks like he basically pulls a pose from a catalogue that he's seen, and like that's trying to be casual in that moment. Like he's trying to look as comfortable whilst being uncomfortable as possible.
Oh my god.
You begin to hear a low kind of hum. As the louder it gets, the more it's kind of reverberating throughout the entire room. Are you staying seated throughout all this, or
I'm going to sit down.
Is it just the sound? There's no like sensation coming through the table or anything like that. Vibration.
I mean, there's a little bit of vibration, which as the hum is getting louder, you can kind of you get the feeling it's just kind of like reverberating with the sound, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps rising and rising in volume, and the pitch starts going up almost as if it's like a kind of frequency sweep.
There aren't any speakers or anything like that looking around the room, anything in the top corners of the rooms, anything like that?
Not that you can see. I mean, there's the panel on the wall behind you.
Right.
But that's sort of like solid kind of thing.
Okay. And can we see anything more than them just reaching out of sight at this point? If they come back up, like, what are they doing?
No, I mean, they're in front of the glass, kind of like facing in, but you can't see what their hands are doing. They're kind of below the level of the window, if that makes sense. They are kind of looking up at you and sort of frowning and adjusting more, and then the frequency of the sound goes up, and it's getting pretty loud, almost kind of painfully like ear-splitting loud at this point.
Okay, so and Antony slides his hands where he's cradling his head still on the table. He slides his hands up over his ears and kind of looks at Sora, pulling a face of pain. Like, this is getting rough, right?
Wait, did you say that or just imply it with a look?
Just implied, just gave the look of pain of like, feeling this too, right? This sound is awful.
Yeah, the volume it's at, you get the feeling you wouldn't be able to hear yourself over it anyway.
Okay, and then Sora just like looks tense and shrugs.
Okay. So
there's not much.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm racking my brain thinking there's not much I can do here. Like I'm going to continue looking out the window and monitoring what they're doing, but we can't do anything about it.
The sound is loud and it's humming, and it's kind of it almost feels like it's shaking every bone in your body, and you can see the outside they're sort of frowning and they're kind of watching the two of you. You can sort of see them talking, but I mean you can't hear over the sound, and even before you couldn't hear anything that was going on in the corridor.
Are they like 70s scientist sci-fi movie guys, and they're like at like a dashboard and they're like controlling like a knob, and it's like
well, kind of, yeah. I mean, you can't
and everything. Yeah?
You can't see the dashboard, but I mean that definitely seems to be the vibe.
Damn.
They're kind of frowning and sort of looking at you, and then
oh my god, this is how they're verifying.
they're talking to each other, and then one of them sort of shrugs, they shake their head, and the sound all cuts out. You're kind of left there. Your ears are ringing like a lot, like like you've just been at like the loudest concert in your life kind of thing. But the sound has cut out now. There's a gap of a couple of seconds, and they the scientists both enter. The professor sort of nods to you and goes, "Okay, well, that's very strange considering what you told us at the gate, but I think we're ready to talk now." And
okay.
He sits down at the chair facing the two chairs, while the other professor, the other white-coated individual stands behind him.
Antony kind of rears up, bringing his head out of his hands now, and says to him, "What's very strange?"
They kind of look at each other, almost as if they're sort of deciding what to tell you. So, well, you... he gestures towards Sora. Says, you said your father had come into contact with a dark liquid, and we might know what that is.
What is it?
Well, the strange thing is, if your father had come into contact with it, then you should have as well, hence our precautions just now.
Well, actually, I don't live with him, so I was just visiting and found him like that.
You don't live... Okay, alright, well, that might explain things.
Why? Why is that important?
The liquid is... How shall I put this? The liquid is like an infection, and it infects those who come into contact with it and tries its hardest to infect others.
That's a bit vague.
Yeah, let's say, and... question mark. Go on.
Those... But, I mean, considering you weren't infected, you had quite a lot of the details. I'm just wondering where you might have heard about it.
I saw it.
Yeah, it was our dad. He had all this like black stuff all over his face. It was coming out of his eyes and his ears and his mouth. It was disgusting.
Yeah, we were just visiting after school.
Did either of you touch it?
No.
No.
We just called an ambulance.
Okay, that's good. That's good. He called an ambulance. We didn't. He sort of turns to the other individuals. We didn't get any reports of ambulances seeing this stuff, did we? She shakes her head no. Okay, well, then what happened when the ambulance arrived?
Then we left the room to wait for the ambulance, and when we came back, he was magically fine again. And so the ambulance left.
How long would you say he was in this state? Like you say, pouring from his eyes and such, as you put it?
I don't know, like, could have been 24 hours.
Yeah, we just found him like that. We don't know.
Okay, alright. They sort of whisper to each other and okay, well, it's tough to pick out any words. If you want to try and pick out any, I'm going to need a check, I think. I don't want to feel like I'm just giving you everything. Exposition dump or anything.
And Antony's main thought at this point is to kind of follow suit with them, and because we're both kind of acting a bit like, yeah, we're capable people, don't mess with us, you can't just boss us around, we're going to ask.
And also, what we said was the truth, so
Antony's going to lean into Sora and try and have a little powwow at the same time. Say something to the effect of, I think this is going quite well.
Shut up, dude.
And Antony side-eyes towards the professor. Did he catch what I just whispered?
Well, the professor was talking.
They're busy talking, so I was thinking.
Yeah.
Wait, it's just that conspiratorial look of like, yeah, I'm looking to see if you're hearing what we're talking about.
So they kind of finished talking. So, okay, well, you got very lucky without if you didn't touch it, especially given that it was your father as well. Even if you didn't touch it, it's likely the virus would have. Say virus, not really that accurate of a term for this particular thing.
Is my dad gonna die?
Is he? And Antony slams a fist on the table. Is he okay? What are you doing down here? Why have you brought us down here?
He will most likely be...
Dad's gonna die!
I won't let you kill my dad! And slams two fists on the table and stands up.
Okay. It's just calm down, calm down. If he was... If he seemed to be back to normal, it's likely that he won't suffer any... Well, he won't die. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Well, that's okay then.
Yeah, guess it's all good.
And Antony kind of lets the false anger fall away from him and sort of sits back down in the chair and again turns to Sora and gives a nod like, this is working.
Would you like a glass of water?
No, please continue. Professor.
Well, okay. What would you like to know?
What is it? What happened? This has happened to multiple people. Please tell us more.
And I want to know what this place is.
Yeah.
This is simply a containment facility and a research facility. But that's not really that's not classified at all. I can tell you that. What it is exactly?
Do you use it to contain children? Is this that what this is all about?
He looks a bit taken aback. Contain
children.
Children.
Well, we're in here. Why have you put us in
also
here?
confused.
What are you trying to contain in here?
He's just it's cool. He's just asking us questions. He hasn't locked us in here or anything.
Antony backs off and kind of takes Sora's lead and like gives her a look like, okay.
We're trying to figure out how to remove this infection, and this is where we're trying to find out how to do that.
And how do you explain it happening to a lot of people?
It's likely that some of it got into your town's water supply, probably from the loop facility. It's our hypothesis.
Wow.
So
Damn.
What was that noise about then? Why did you try and deafen us?
The infection seems to be susceptible to certain unorthodox methods of treatment. High volume sounds it's affected by, as well as magnetism. But the other white-coat individual puts the bucket back on the table and says, "Oh, you can have your metal items back now."
Oh, thanks. Listen, so did you cure it by doing that around town?
Well,
Is that why people suddenly got better?
We haven't cured anything.
Oh, then how come our dad suddenly got better?
He isn't better. He just didn't die from the initial infection.
He didn't even know that anything had happened.
Yeah.
That's likely the infection protecting itself. Infection's not an accurate term, but probably one that you'd understand.
We're not thick, mate. You can talk to us proper like.
Yeah, we're 16. Not children.
It's not alive as you might think of it. It's not even organic. We don't really know where it came from. It has an intelligence of its own.
Antony looks around the room hearing this, thinking, this guy has given us a lot of information. And looks towards the door of the soldier and starts to get a little bit of a sweat on thinking about that, and says, Are you going to let us go from here then? We've told you what we know.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, well, I don't know if we can let you go straight away. I mean, you're not prisoners, but the situation is very much still ongoing, and we're not really sure what will happen, what the infected will do if the knowledge of their infection is exposed. Infection has a degree of control over them, you see. It doesn't... most of the time they don't realise why they're doing things, but it makes them do things.
Antony looks to the other scientist type that's been fairly quiet throughout this whole process.
She's got kind of a clipboard out and has been sort of jotting down some notes as well.
Okay. And have either of the professor or that woman got a name tag identification, any kind of the archetypal stuff hanging from the neck?
Yeah, they've got like a lanyard, not like a lanyard, but, they're hanging on the top pocket.
Is that visual? Can I read that from how far away we are?
Yeah, they're pretty close. You could read that. His says Professor Warren. There isn't any other identifying marks other than like a Ministry of Defence kind of logo on it as well. And hers says Dr. Smith.
Just wanted to establish that.
Okay, yeah. So while this is all going on, we'll cut back to Hazel. So Hazel, you're kind of hanging out there for maybe, I want to say 5 minutes, not very long at all, when you hear the sound of an approaching engine.
What direction is the engine coming from?
Not from the water, it's coming from, as if it's sort of coming from the road.
Okay, so I'm kind of hidden from the road at the moment.
You are, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try and be really sneaky and have a look round without being spotted.
All right, can I get a this will be a body sneak check from you. I'm only going to need 1 success, but you do only have 3 points total in that, so yeah. There's a success in there, yeah. Okay, so you're able to just quickly sort of dart your head around the corner without, fully sort of exposing yourself. You see what looks to be like one of the vans that you saw earlier in the day when you kind of scoped out this whole area, pull up in front of the blockhouse building. You sort of stick your head back in, but you hear the sounds of doors opening. Sounds to be a couple of pairs of footsteps. Some mumbling. You can't really make out any words from where you are because you're kind of on the other side of the building. You hear sort of quite unmistakable sound of like a side door of the van opening. Bit more mumbling, and then the sound of the doors of the building opening, and then a couple of seconds later closing.
Did it sound like everyone left the van?
Tough to tell. You're not entirely sure how many people were in it.
Okay, I will try and poke my head round again and see.
Okay. Yes, another success there. So yeah, from your vantage point, you can't see anybody else around it. It does seem to be, like as if everybody has left the van. It's pretty nondescript. There's nothing. There's no logos or anything on it. It's just kind of like a white van. Engine isn't running anymore. It's all off, but all the doors are closed. You didn't hear earlier the sound of any doors being locked or anything, but the doors are all closed.
I think I want to try and have a look inside the van to search it.
Okay. The front doors appear to be closed, but the side door has been left unlocked.
Okay.
Pulling it open, you can see inside there is space. You would guess maybe it's about the right size for like a kind of stretcher, but that isn't in. There's nothing there at the moment. It's kind of clear of other equipment in a way that there might have been something here fairly recently filling the space. Also in the van, there is what looks to be sort of a series of bits of equipment that you can't recognise all of them, but one of them definitely looks like a kind of metal detector of some sort. There's also something that looks, it's got kind of like a little mini kind of radar dish, but it's got a sort of set of headphones sticking out of it.
Ooh.
As well. So there's a lot of kind of odd looking, sort of quite sturdy looking bits of equipment in there, of unknown purpose, really. If you didn't know any better, you guess it was maybe some kind of surveillance van of some sort.
Yeah. From the back, can I see into the front of the van?
It does. It's not like open, but there is like a small kind of window.
Okay.
That's perspex, going between the sort of cab area and the back. Yeah, but you could see through that. You just couldn't get through it.
Okay. I would like to do an investigate to find something identifiable. So whether that is paperwork or...
Sure, yeah, okay. Well,
yeah, just something like that.
Yeah. Do a mind investigate check for me. This is your kind of wheelhouse, this and heart. So we're going to need 1 success again, but you have 5d6 to do this on. 1 success. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of digging around. I mean, you're quite conscious that you're kind of a little bit exposed here. So you're kind of making quite a quick skim through. You do find sort of tucked underneath a pair of gloves a clipboard with... It's got a lot of... It seems to be like a list of all the addresses in town by road. Some of them have been crossed out with a line through. Some of them have got a question mark next to them, and some of them have got a tick mark next to them. It appears that some sort of survey was being done.
Do I recognise any of these?
As in any of the particular ones that have gotten different...
Yeah.
I think I get another mind investigate, because I mean it's sort of quite a wodge of papers, just in terms of sort of how quickly you can sort of make your way through it. I mean, unless there were particular ones you had in mind.
Well, I was hoping to check for my own house.
Okay, well, I just
and maybe Kev's house as well.
I just seen you did the check and you didn't get any successes. But given that you've specified which ones, I mean, you know your own address, so okay, we'll disregard that check. I think if you were just doing, it was more like if you're doing a skim through and any ones jump out at you. But if you're looking for specific addresses, then okay, your house has a line through.
Okay.
And you said Kev's house.
Yeah.
Kev's house has a tick next to it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that my house is scored through. I'm relatively positive at the moment.
Yeah.
How long has it been since the other two went into this building?
I would say it's probably about 20 minutes.
Okay. Hazel's getting pretty anxious at this point. Like, she hasn't heard anything. She doesn't know if they're okay. Would it be possible for Hazel to hide away? Like, use the van as cover to hide? Like, so basically what she wants to do is, as soon as the door opens, if she doesn't see Sora and Antony, she wants to be able to run in and try and find them. This is a terrible plan.
Yeah, it's not a great
But she's convinced that this will be good.
So the only way I can think is that if you did like a kind of well, I think it's like a kind of Return of the Jedi sort of standing on one side of the door, and then when they walk out, you just kind of dart in behind them and hope they don't turn around and see you. That's like, because that's the only thing I can think of really, because the van is kind of pretty much parked in front of the doors.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basically, she just wants to try and. At this point, she needs to get in there because they definitely know what's going on with this black goo.
Yeah. Okay, well, that...
and in fact, she's going to pinch the list as well.
Okay. I will say, okay, here's a few other items that are in there then, just as you're picking stuff up. So there is a hazmat suit in there, complete with full gear, helmet, everything. Pair of gloves, Wellington boots. There is what looks to be, like I say, there's the metal detector thing, the kind of headphones connected to a little kind of handheld radar dish. There is what looks to be a sort of, if you didn't know better, you'd say it was like a heavily modified kind of like boombox type thing. There is a fire extinguisher. There is what looks almost like a kind of really hefty one of those litter picking claws. And there also appears to be a sort of little rack with a few kind of like, only way I can think to describe them is kind of like storage kind of bottles sort of thing.
Oh.
A little bit like thermoses, but they look like sort of heavy duty thermoses.
Can I see anything in them?
They're kind of metal sided.
Okay. Opening them doesn't sound wise.
I mean, you can if you want, but I'll leave that up to you. They're not labelled.
Yeah. Like, she could do it, but she's also a witch, and dabbling into bottles of unknown substances is not
opening
art.
Random containers doesn't always go well.
She's going to try and be just round the corner from the door.
Okay.
And probably get caught.
We're going for the Battle of Endor plan then. All right.
Yes.
Okay. No, it's fine.
Because 16-year-old logic is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a plan. Let's put it that way. So we're going to cut back to Sora and Antony. You're kind of at the same point in the conversation where we left you. As you're talking to the professor and the doctor, you can just see in the corridor behind them 2 people walking past, carrying what looks to be a stretcher with somebody on the stretcher, shall we say. They go past the window. The door to your kind of room is closed, so you still can't hear anything. But these people go past, and about 30 seconds later, they walk past back the other way, not carrying the stretcher anymore.
Okay. So Antony's kind of, as it's gone past, kind of craned his neck and tried to get a good look at the body bag or whatever was on there, and has not really managed to catch it.
No, I mean you can see it's sort of person shaped, but it's got it's not in a body bag. But there is like a sort of somebody's thrown like a tarp over it, sort of thing. And but yeah, I mean where you're kind of sat at the table, you haven't got a good sort of. You're not able to kind of look round the corner of the glass or anything. You're just sort of. You can pretty much just sort of see them as they go past, kind of thing.
So he kind of finishes his craning glance and turns around to Sora and raises an eyebrow and then goes back to the professor and says, 2 guys just went past with a stretcher with, like, something on it. Like, what do you keep in this place, then?
The professor exchanges a glance with the doctor and says, well, the only way to fight something like this that acts like an infection is to understand it. So we've been surveying the town to see how widespread the infection is, and unfortunately some people don't survive the initial infection. Some have bad reactions to it, and it is necessary for us to bring those in, as well as, if we can, some who did survive the infection, to see if we can find a effective way of removing it.
Okay then. Well, maybe we kind of had you wrong. We thought that maybe you'd done something to our dad. And that's why we came here.
Done something? He looks sort of quite taken aback. Like, no, we're the response.
Yeah, he said that it came from the loop. You know, that nuclear place.
Well, we think it did, yes, but I mean, these things sometimes just pop up.
These things just pop up?
That's a bit sus.
I've maybe said too much.
What's the other one? The other scientist's reaction to this? I've forgotten her name.
Dr. Smith. She kind of gives him a glance and a frown, but you're getting the vibe that she's like he's her superior, kind of like he's like a boss kind of thing. So she's not like interrupting him or anything, but you couldn't help but notice like a little bit of like a frown of like, oh, are we meant to have? Some of this is meant to be secret, sort of. No, she doesn't say anything or anything like that, but yeah, she's still sort of making notes.
Turning to Sora, Antony sort of rears up in his chair in that I'm about to get up kind of way, and says, well, unless you've got anything else you want to talk to them about, sister, I think our business here might be done. And kind
yes,
of starts,
brother. Seems we are done. We got a dip.
And we get up, I guess, and kind of like
I tuck my chair in.
Yeah. What's the reaction to this?
He doesn't get up. He says, "Well, hold on. We really ought to. We can't just sort of put you back on the streets, as it were. Not without getting some more details.
We're not from the streets, so."
You kind of walked in off the street, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but our dad's going to worry about us. And
our mum.
Antony's got the dual meaning, and the sweat on the forehead begins.
Just imagining just the flop sweat just starting.
Because it's just dawned on him that if they're going to be trapped here and they're going to have to talk about the fact that, like, maybe we're going to inform parents, we're not going to be informing the correct parents here. So there's a problem coming.
So, well, at the very least, we need to take down your details to make sure that you're not walking back into a. Well, we already think, based on what you've told us, your house is probably infected. We have no way of inoculating you either, so.
Oh well, I'm sure I'll be fine. And Antony kind of shuffles, kind of a little bit towards the door.
I also start walking backwards. I mean,
the door is firmly closed still. There's no handle on this side.
How do you open this?
We never got your names. What was
It's Kevin O'Neill.
Kevin O'Neill. Okay, and your name, Miss?
Daisy O'Neill.
Daisy O'Neill. Okay, well, just sit tight for a minute longer. I'll go and make sure that this is all in the system, and then we can see about maybe finding you a at least somewhere that isn't infected to go to.
Where would that be?
Well, that's what we'll find out. If you just sit tight for a minute, we'll be back. Him and the doctor sort of make for the door. Hazel, you hear the sound of the doors opening.
Okay.
Okay, so just quite okay. Are you back around the corner, or are you like flat against the wall, or how are you?
I'll be back round the corner.
Okay.
But ready to
go. All right.
Yeah.
So you hear the doors opening, and sort of I take it sort of looking round. You see two guys sort of walking out towards the van. You have a very short window to act here. From what you can tell, they're not looking at you. So, what would you like to do?
Fuck it. I'll run in.
Okay. Are you sneaking or are you just sprinting?
I'm just going to fucking sprint, I think.
Okay.
That's the spirit.
Totally going to work.
Yeah, I think you've paced it out. It's not a huge building, so I'm not going to make you do a check to sprint in. The check was more going to be if you wanted to sneak in. But, okay. Sorry. Just imagining these guys just like, okay, yeah, we're in a secure facility, and then just out of nowhere, just Hazel just like... just
this like
past.
Teenage goth just runs past them into the building.
Into the building. Yeah, so you dart in. The doors are already closing as you get to them, and you just kind of like... just sort of smooth your way through, you know what I mean?
Excellent.
You do, just through the corner of your eye, see them sort of spin round to look at you as you go in.
I've got a couple of seconds head start. They'll need to reopen the door.
Yeah, that's true. But you find yourself in I mean, you having been kind of hanging around outside, your eyes are kind of already sort of adjusted to the dark. It's kind of a low red lit room. There is a sort of keypad, but it does appear that it's only got like an up and a down arrow on it. In the middle of the room, you can't see anything. There's a keypad there and a sort of square in the middle of the room, but there's nothing else up here.
As far as I remember, this building doesn't go up very far.
No, it's a one-story
so let's
building.
go down.
Okay. You press the button just as you're just disappearing out of sight down as you see above you the doors start to open again. But you kind of drop out of sight and you hear some sort of shouts from above like, hey you there, stop. You look up, you can...
Sorry, now I'm imagining them dressed as stormtroopers.
No, they're just like in hazmat suits. They've not got the helmets on though. They just look like... Although they do, as you can see, you can imagine like army berets, they've got them on.
Right, okay.
But it's a pair of sort of quite sort of surprised looking kind of soldier men. I don't know. They're kind of shouting after you, but as you reach the bottom and the doors in front of you open, I take it you're sort of rolling through. I don't know. I've suddenly gone to like Metal Gear Solid Hazel mode here. But like
okay, as the doors open, what can I see?
Okay, there's just a short corridor ahead of you.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember how I described it earlier. Yeah, there was a first short corridor, then
yeah, I will just try to move a bit more quietly, rather than just like bolting down a corridor inside.
So as you step through, the doors behind you close, but you can hear the platform going back up.
Okay. I don't have very long then.
No.
I move quickly to the end of the corridor.
Okay. Yeah, the doors ahead of you open as you go through. Ahead of you is a much longer corridor. You see a little way along, not very far. There's a series of doors and glass panels. A little way along on the left-hand side, there appears to be another soldier kind of stood sort of at attention in front of a door, which just as you're coming through your door, that door opens and a pair of people in white coats are stepping through. And you can sort of hear sort of sounds of Antony and Sora through the door. From your angle, you can't really see into that room from there, but yeah.
Hazel is going to just shout at them at that point.
Okay.
What the hell have you done to my family? And where are my friends?
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. Join us next week, that's Thursday the 13th of February, for a bonus D&D world-building episode. And of course, we'll be back as usual in 2 weeks' time on Thursday the 20th of February with the next chapter of our Things from the Flood story, continuing where we left off today. So we hope you'll all tune back in for that. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at Pretend with Dice. And if you're a Discord user, you can also join our server by following the link in the pinned tweet on our Twitter page. Finally, you can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes or Apple Podcast user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd love to hear what you all think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.